All right, good morning all. This meeting is called to order. Mr. Truman, has anyone signed up for public comment?
Good morning, Commissioners. Les Trubin, General Counsel. We have 3 individuals who have registered for public comment this morning. When I call your name, if you could unmute, introduce yourself, and then begin. We have Tammy Chavira.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. Dear board members and community guests and Texas Workforce Commission, I'm writing as a mother of an incredible young adult with an intellectual disability and as a passionate special education teacher. Julie is a beautiful college hopeful and has been accepted to the highly competitive program of Elevar at UNT. She is eager to start her 4-year journey with them to help put her on a path in life that would otherwise not be afforded. Being a non-traditional student, Julia doesn't qualify for 98% of scholarships and grants from outside sources. Julia is a very high-functioning student and couldn't be more ready for this opportunity. We've been to orientation and she has tasted the excitement as well as the challenges ahead in this transition. This opportunity has already shown Julia what is possible. We have a current case manager and are connected with TWC already. Therefore, we are a current client, but I'm uncertain of our fate in funding for UNT this year and beyond. Since we got acceptance to Elevar and UNT in March of 2025, TWC services were put on hold at the recommendation of our case manager and service providers. I have been diligent in keeping in contact to assure we are not missing any important steps. Yet since March, we haven't made progress for Julia. We're currently between offices as part of this transition season from the Dallas to Denton TWC office. As a result, we are uncertain of Julia's current status as it stands relating to her funding. We're eagerly awaiting information in regards to her status as a new student or current student, and that's where the question lies. At the rate that things have been going, we will be well into the program and its costs before knowing what financing looks like, which is unfair to any responsible household. This support's vital as we have a younger daughter who is very capable and of incredible things. And we also need to afford support for her as it's her senior year in high school as well. But what does this funding mean in the bigger picture? As a society, what does TWC programming funding offer? Speaking as a special education teacher, there is something in education that we are unable to tie a monetary value to in building confidence through a supportive learning environment. That confidence and experience can often be more for a person than any other service, procedure, medicine, training, etc. Elevar has created that level of opportunity for students like Julia. I've also been privileged to see the impact of this program in the community as well. As a society, quality community members are honored and to support and eager to see the success of these individuals. That success of the program, therefore, for these individuals allows them to have the independence and safety they wouldn't have otherwise. That hopefully comes with a much lower, if not eliminated, need for financial support in the long run. Not to mention the immense pleasure they bring to everyone they meet. Their zest for life, rather than a growing need for support, would contribute to society in yet another way that we are unable to put a price on. Thank you for the opportunity to be heard and appreciate that we all want what's best for our own children, but this is so much bigger than that. Our world needs what these individuals have to offer and can fill gaps in the workforce and our world at large. Thank you for doing your best to find a way to continue this funding or create new opportunities to provide for these many individuals of all kinds, not just mine. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Dennis Rasso. Dennis Rasso, if you could unmute yourself and begin.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. My name's Dennis Rasso, and I'm an alum of the University of North Texas, and I am a proud supporter of the Elevar program. I have known of this program since its inception 4 years ago, and I have been greatly impressed by the achievements of the students who have participated in this program. Not only do they take specialized courses to help them through their college career, they also take courses that are mainstreamed and take classes with the mainstream students. The professors that I have talked to are very pleased with these students' performances. And since this is an underserved segment of our population, students with the intellectual disabilities, the importance of giving them the chance to have their independence and success is critical to our society. By cutting the funding at such a late date, it puts the parents in such a predicament that their student may not be able to attend due to financial constraints. Since the students are moving into their dormitories in 3 weeks, trying to come up with the additional funding can be very difficult for these families. But it's the students that are losing out. They're losing out on their opportunities to find themselves, to find what their passions are, to develop those passions, and become independent and productive members of our society today. These are all very important things for this underserved group. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Carol Waddell. Carol Waddell, if you could unmute yourself and then begin.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Chairman Daniel, honorable commissioners at TWC, for the record, my name is Kara Waddell. I serve as president and CEO of Child Care Associates based in Fort Worth. And we do operate 15 early learning centers for Head Start, early Head Start, pre-K and child care. And we partner with 2 large workforce boards in North Texas to deliver the TWC Child Care Scholarship Program, as well as quality improvement efforts. Comments today are my own. They don't represent Child Care Associates necessarily, or that of the 2 workforce boards with whom we contract. I did submit written testimony. I'll avoid reading those to you. I wanted to come today to amplify the voice of our child care providers and parents. We hear directly and frequently from them. And put simply, they're frustrated and scared. 2 main areas of concern I wanted to highlight. First, TX3C has been rolled out. There's an additional $100 million for the Child Care Services Program, which has been celebrated. And there is a widespread sense of relief among child care providers that relief is on the way. They believe that their families will soon be pulled from the wait list. But hearing last week that the new child care targets will actually lower the number of children to be served starting in October, this will come as a shock to them. I understand why. There's an increase in rates. You're serving at 75% of the market rate survey amount. We have more Texas Rising Star programs than ever before. Those are good things. But in our area, especially, families have been sitting on the wait list for a long time, and programs are fully expecting that we're going to start pulling them in the matter of months. Also, the second issue is the child care scholarship, the new priority group category that would enable scholarships for eligible child care educators to receive the child care assistance funding. We've already begun receiving calls. They're very eager to pull their teachers off the wait list, and their expectation is immediate. The rollout's happening now, not months from now. And so given this extensive period of uncertainty, I just wanted to encourage TWC, please offer timely communication in the next few weeks from the state. Numbers are going down. They're not going to be going up. And by what date they can expect to pull their child care educators for priority service. Providers and families don't want to be in the dark, and I know you don't want that to be the case either. Workforce board areas, I believe, will also appreciate having the state help message this. It's very difficult on the ground, and it's helpful when you back us up to provide the justification and understanding. We stand ready to help in any way we can, and thank you for your continued commitment to the working families and children of Texas.
Commissioners, those are the comments we have this morning. Thanks.
All right. Thank you. Let's move then to agenda 3. We have no cases to reconsider.
That's correct.
Agenda 4, tax liability cases. We have no cases on docket.
Correct.
6 under agenda 7, we have no wage claim cases on docket 29. Pulled for additional discussion.
That is correct. There are no wage claim cases pulled for additional discussion on docket 29. However, you should have received the short form dissent list for the wage claim cases on docket 29.
I move we accept staff recommendations on the remaining wage claim cases on docket 29.
I second the motion, except for those cases which I am dissenting, as reflected on wage claim short form dissent list for docket 29.
I concur with the chairman's motion, except for the cases on which I am dissenting is reflected on wage claim short form dissent list for docket 29.
Motion passes with the exceptions noted. Let's move then to agenda item 8, consideration of unemployment insurance cases.
Case number 1-3609419, Commissioner Trevino.
The decision is not supportable. The claimant appeared for the first AT hearing, but was not allowed time to provide testimony on the job separation. The claimant then missed the AT1 continuance and the AT2 hearings because he did not receive the hearing notices in a timely manner and because he was participating in job-related training for his new job. Therefore, the claimant should be granted good cause for missing AT1 continuance and AT2, and the case should be resubmitted for merits testimony taken at AT3. Reverse the AT, claimant established good cause for AT1 continuance, claimant established good cause for AT2, resubmit.
The AT decision should be modified. Regarding good cause, the claimant's testimony on this issue was inconsistent and did not rise to the level of credible and persuasive such that it would excuse his non-appearances. As to the job separation, the claimant was fired after receiving a warning about his job performance. The employer presented multiple witnesses who testified that the claimant simply did not perform the duties required for his job. As such, the employer's evidence establishes that the claimant mismanaged his position of employment and was terminated for misconduct connected with the work. We should therefore modify the AT decision. The claimant did not have good cause for his non-appearances, misconduct, no chargeback, sever adequate employer response.
No good cause for AT2, good cause for AT1, misconduct, no chargeback, sever adequate employer response.
Short form dissent, ma'am.
Have your short form dissent.
Hang on. One moment, please. I'll agree with the chairman on
Thank you.
the remainder.
Commissioner Trevino, I do have your short form dissent.
Thank you, ma'am.
Case number 3669169, Commissioner Esparza.
The commission should rehear this case. Claimant's job separation stemmed from her need to provide care for her terminally ill spouse. Section 207046A3 of the Act prevents disqualification if the claimant leaves to care for the individual's terminally ill spouse if no reasonable alternative care is available. Here, on or about the time of the work separation, the record is unclear about whether the claimant had alternative help to care for her husband. Since this information is necessary to determine whether the claimant meets the requirements under the Act, we should rehear this case to obtain information about whether the claimant had reasonable alternative available care. Rehear.
The decision is not supportable. The claimant was separated from employment after she had to leave work to care for her husband, who has a terminal illness, as evidenced by the medical documentation submitted to the commission. The claimant requested FMLA and other leave options prior to separating from employment, but no such leave was offered to her. Consequently, the claimant's separation is not disqualifying under Section 207.046A3 of the Act. Reverse the AT, no voluntary leaving, bill reimbursing employer.
Rehear.
We will rehear the case.
Case number 3684581, Commissioner Trevino.
The decision is not supportable. The claimant provided credible testimony that she checked her mail at her address of record twice per week, and that when she last checked her mail 4 days before the hearing, she had not received the hearing notice. She then received it the day after the hearing. The claimant was not required to check her mail every day to comply with the commission's requirement that she monitor the mail at her address of record, and the delay in the claimant's receipt of the hearing notice constituted good cause connected with good cause for the claimant's non-appearance at AT1. Reverse the AT, claimant established good cause for AT1, resubmit.
We should affirm the AT decision concerning good cause. The claimant delayed checking her mail for most of the week, or for almost a week, before discovering the hearing notice. As such, she did not rebut the presumption of receipt because she was not prevented from attending the hearing due to circumstances beyond her control. She did not establish good cause for her non-appearance. Regarding the merits, the available evidence indicates that the claimant quit immediately after a disagreement with her supervisor because the claimant's working conditions were not intolerable, and she walked out without giving the employer the opportunity to address her concerns. She quit without good cause connected with the work. Affirm the AT decision. The claimant did not have good cause for a non-appearance, voluntary leaving, no chargeback.
No good cause, voluntary leaving, no chargeback.
Short form dissent.
Have your short form dissent.
Case number 3722299, Commissioner Esparza.
We should affirm the AT decision. The claimant was discharged for falsifying time records and not following compliance procedures. The claimant had previous warnings about the policy compliance violation and was terminated after the employer discovered discrepancies in her time card. Reports show the claimant would log in but not perform work until sometime later. The claimant was given a written warning less than 2 months prior to their discharge for remaining on the clock when not working, and was notified that the continued falsifications would lead to termination. Knowing termination would result, the claimant's continued falsification of time cards constituted misconduct connected with work. Accordingly, we should affirm the AT decision, misconduct, no chargeback.
The decision is not supportable. The employer did not provide any firsthand testimony or credible evidence to support its allegations that the claimant was idle during the periods where the employer's system showed her not performing billing work. The claimant provided credible firsthand testimony that she was busy doing other work during these periods and that the employer never asked her about what she was doing. Though the employer also cited errors in her work, the claimant thought that she was following the directions that she was given and sought clarification, but did not receive any further feedback. Therefore, the claimant was not given notice that anything that she was doing was placing her job in jeopardy, and that the employer did not meet its burden of proving that the claimant engaged in misconduct connected with the work. Reverse the AT, no misconduct, chargeback.
Misconduct, no chargeback.
Short form dissent now.
I have your short form dissent.
Case number 3725770, Commissioner Esparza.
We should reverse the AT decision. The claimant was discharged for failure to meet job performance goals. Although the claimant relocated from Houston to Dallas, he was given time to adjust to the new market and daily coaching to help meet expectations. The employer has provided documentation showing the claimant's failure to meet sales performance goals, which resulted from neglect of duty. GPS records provided show fewer and shorter stops made by the claimant progressively over time. In addition, the claimant would not show up to locations he was instructed to visit. Thus, the claimant was not following instructions and was not working to the best of his ability, since the claimant neglected his work duties and continued to not meet work expectations. His actions constituted misconduct connected with the work. Accordingly, we should reverse the AT decision, misconduct, no chargeback, adequate employer response.
The decision is correct. The employer discharged the claimant due to his inability to meet his monthly sales goals. The claimant performed his work to the best of his ability and provided credible firsthand testimony that he continually received positive feedback about his performance. Since the employer failed to provide any direct evidence that the claimant had ever demonstrated the ability to meet the employer's sales standards, the claimant was discharged for reasons other than misconduct connected with the work. Affirm the AT, no misconduct, chargeback.
No misconduct, chargeback.
Short form dissent.
I have your short form dissent. That was the last full UI case for docket 29. You should have received the short form dissent list for the UI cases on docket 29.
I move we accept staff recommendations on the remaining UI cases on docket 29.
I second the motion, except for those cases which I am dissenting, as reflected on UI short form dissent list for docket 29.
I concur with the chairman's motion, except for the cases of which I'm dissenting as reflected in the UI short form dissent list for docket 29.
Motion passes with the exceptions noted. We got a real quick executive director's report we're going to hear.
Eric Holden's going to provide us with an update on DUA. Eric.
Good morning, Eric Holm with the Unemployment Insurance Division. I have an update on declared disaster 4879 for the severe storms and flooding that occurred beginning July 2nd. On July 6th, federal disaster aid was authorized for individual assistance, which includes disaster unemployment assistance, or DUA, for Kerr County. On July 10th, the disaster declaration was amended to add Burnett, San Saba, Tom Green, Travis, and Williamson counties for individual assistance. The deadline to apply for DUA benefits under this disaster is September 4th, 2025, and the last payable week for DUA benefits is the week ending January 10th, 2026. As of this morning, customers submitted 28 DUA claims and another 215 regular claims stating they were affected by the disaster. When the disaster occurred, the Unemployment Insurance Division took the following additional actions to support our customers. First, we activated disaster tracking on the Unemployment Benefit Services System. This allowed customers to indicate that they're affected by the disaster to allow better tracking and us to monitor the impact. Also, when those customers exhaust their unemployment benefits, it allows us to identify them and move them to disaster unemployment assistance. We added area code 830, which covers Kerr County and the surrounding areas, to our telephone system to allow anybody who's calling our unemployment insurance telecenters from those telephone numbers to get in regardless of call volume so that we could focus our efforts to serve them. We partner with our finance division to put collection actions on hold for employers that are affected. And since July is a report filing month for quarterly reports for employers, our UI tax team will be monitoring and waiving any penalties for late quarterly reports for affected employers. And finally, this week, we're deploying a UI field specialist to the affected area to make sure that we distribute UI posters and flyers. And that completes my update.
Thank you. Any comments or questions?
None here.
No, Chair.
Is there any other order of business come before the commission? No.
Chair,
Yes.
could we ensure that the public comment, there was the third public commenter mentioned that she had a written statement but didn't read it? We make sure that gets filtered.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mr. Drummond? Yep, thank you.
Thumbs up.
Any other order of business? None? Is there a motion to adjourn?
Chairman, I move to adjourn.
A second.
It's been moved and seconded to adjourn. We're adjourned.